was told I was born with knock knees or bow-leggedness, and that can't really change. Or can it? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I really love that question personally, because that was one of the first jaw-dropping moments for me as a therapist with Egoscue, was seeing someone that's like very bow-legged change their leg position. There's a particular client that comes to mind, and when I saw his progress, I was like, this is crazy. Because I don't know for you, Mike, if you remember, at least for me in school, I remember learning about these different positions. Like I remember learning valgus stress versus varus stress, right? Which is bow-legged versus knock-kneed. And that was the extent of the knowledge, was just like, there are these different positions. And it wasn't like there was anything you could do about it. It was just know that you're going to see people with different positions. And so coming in and getting trained through the Egoscue method, and then seeing clients, and then seeing the change myself in these clients, was crazy and really cool. So I love that question, because so many people do think that. And if you just bring it back to just the simple fact that the job of your muscles is to move your bones, that's what they do, then it doesn't seem so crazy that you can change the position of knock-kneed or bow-leggedness. There is the exception, I would say, with a birth condition. And I only know this from experience because my aunt has a condition. It's a form of rickets, actually. And there's like vitamin deficiency, phosphate deficiency. And so her bones are actually curved. It's not just a twist in a position of the joint. It's the bone itself. So I think we do have to be aware that there are conditions out there, and you have to know your client and you have to know their history. But even with that condition, you guys may have seen her before and after pictures, you can still make a huge improvement in how much compensation there is around that.
I love that education piece on, like, the muscles move the bones. The human body has a standard, bone structure and position. It might change in size and length depending on the person. But I always like to give the example, and this is kind of gruesome, but like if I were to strip away all your muscles, all your tissue, and just lay your skeleton on a table, right? That skeleton's just not going to walk off the table and walk out of the room. The muscles dictate the bony position. And, the same goes for bow-leggedness or knock-kneed. It might take some time and some consistent effort to get those legs back into a better position, because it's been in that position for a long time. So those movements have been ingrained course of years, but it can change. And we've seen it happen, and it might be a little bit unbelievable to someone who's had that, but it can change. Just identifying those muscle imbalances present, what exercises address those imbalances, and then putting in the work.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with all of that. Kind of like Elisa was saying, barring any actual birth or deficiency, most of the time, the clients that we're seeing, it's all positional. It's almost all like muscle function and just how they've developed as they've gotten older. I think there's a picture of me. So when I was a baby, I was actually born with like really everted feet, apparently. So back in the day, if you were born in the late 80s, they would actually cast your feet and to try to straighten them out. And so there's a picture of me all like chunky with little casts on my feet. And so like now knowing what I know, you can do the parents have to do it, but you can do like little baby Egoscue to kind of help things straighten out a little bit. But that is, something down the line to think about is, did you come out of, it's a little small in there. Sometimes it gets a little tight before you enter the world. So you might be in a little bit of a funky position. But like Elisa said, barring any type of actual deficiency or, bone deformity, it's all positional and it's very much related to muscles, and you can see it change. Some people that have, maybe are a little bit tighter, it's been there for a lot longer, you'll see, more incremental changes. Some people might see drastic changes, but it can definitely improve. That I know.
Absolutely. There is hope for those people out there with bow-legged knock-knees.
Yes.
I'm one of them too, Lisa. Like I was super knock-kneed when I first started, and it's so much better. And it's funny because like for me, like the quick test with that, where I was like, oh my gosh, like this can change. We were talking about functional tests earlier, is just internally rotating my femurs. So when I stand, my knees have the tendency to want to turn out. So when I correct that, I'm no longer knock-kneed. Like it looks like a perfectly straight leg.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it can change.